Hey, what's up, everybody? Of course, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of the Victorious Ones podcast, the place where gaming meets comics, meets sports, as well as movies, along with inspiration. Of course, I'm your host, King Von Jr. You can follow me on Twitter, of course, at 301 King Von Jr. You can follow the show's Twitter page at VictoryPod1. You can also follow me on Instagram at Mr. King Von Jr. You can also follow the show's Instagram page at Victorious Ones podcast. And of course, on Mondays, I'm the social media producer for the Perfect Plex Talk radio show hosted by Mike Knox at 6 p.m. on Mondays. Doing like right before Monday Night Raw. But of course, this is going to be a pretty special show tonight. Of course, we're going to talk about the week in wrestling from Smackdown to Raw, as well as NXT, and especially I'm going to talk about of course, like the biggest focal point, of course, so far, other than potential like Rock, other than Rock versus Roman and Mania, but especially Roman's story in terms of not only the bloodline story, but especially most importantly, the main thing that people talking about him on track to surpass Hogan on the all-time world champion list. You know what I mean? So in terms of breaking that record, if you will, for a lot of us, when we talk about records, we're talking about especially like the modern record. I'm not expecting Roman. I'm gonna go into this later. But I'm not expecting him, to break Bruno's record because that's so far out of reach. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not expecting him to go past Backlund, but nobody, really acknowledges Backlund like that. But the main one that people focus on obviously is Hogan for obvious reasons. Because of how infamous he has become as of late, a very a polarizing figure, if you will. And so of course, like I said, I'm going to share. I'm going to share my thoughts about it later on. Of course, later on. But first and foremost, I definitely want to go into the week in wrestling. And when I talk about the week in wrestling, I am referring to SmackDown, Raw, as well as NXT. And before I go any further, I want to say congratulations to friend of the program, Ciendal, the honorary wrestling girl, as she has launched her own NXT pre-show. Watch what happens NXT. But yeah, like it says, of course, shout out to those wrestling girls and everyone else. But yeah, like I said, without further ado, like I said, I'm going to go into going to the weekend wrestling. Oh, actually, before I go any further into that, sorry about that. Close this out. It's on Facebook. Yeah, we'll be on here. This. But anyway, sorry about that. But yeah, like slow down. But like I was saying, as far as on Monday, I was able to do some outreach for MLK for MLK Day of Service. It wasn't just a day off; it was a day to be active, a day to give back to the community, and of course, in my church, we had a great, we had a great MLK Day of activities. So like I said, I was proud to, I'm always proud to be a part of a cause that is much bigger than myself, and so. Like I said, I'm going to sound like a preacher, but the thing is, like when it comes to a day like that, it's more than just a holiday. It's more than just a day off, more than just more than just a day to shop, whatever. Like that's the day to make an impact. I'm glad I was able to do that. But yeah, like I say, of course, with that aside, and also I want to say, unfortunately, the Cowboys got spanked by the Packers. So our season has concluded. It has come to an end. But also on the flip side, 24 hours later, Philadelphia Eagles got sent flying. The Eagles were flying on broken wings, Prince says, "When doves cry, I say when eagles cry." Um, this is what it sounds like when eagles cry. But I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna belabor that any longer. But of course, I just had to get that miscellaneous football news out the way. You know what I mean? Because because this is a show that not covers not just wrestling, but football and everything else in between. Um, but of course, of course, of course, start things off with Friday, of course, with Friday Night Smackdown. It's of course AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and LA Knight prepare for Roman Reigns and Royal Rumble title shot, and of course on SmackDown, there was a great match between Bianca Belair and Bayley. And of course, we also saw Joaquin Wilde and Cruz Del Toro versus Andrew Garza and Humberto Carrillo. We also saw Cameron Grimes versus Grayson Waller. And of course, as far as that, the show, of course, the show starts off obviously as usual with bloodline representation, and of course, the match that was initially supposed to happen between Cameron Grimes and Grace Waller obviously never happened. As Solo and Jimmy, son, of course, Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso, accompanied by Paul Heyman, attacked, attacked Cameron Grimes in our way. So, with this being said, Paul Heyman painted SmackDown GM Nick Aldis as the villain in this picture instead of himself in the bloodline. So that's typical narcissist behavior. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that you would deflect blame and point the finger at somebody else is exactly what Heyman is doing. So if anything, he's painting himself to be the good guy, everyone else to be the bad guy. Sounds very Homeland-esque, if you will. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I said, you painted Nick Aldis as the villain, even though it's far from the truth. And by the way, I want to acknowledge Nick Aldis. Shout out to him for the way he is carrying himself. He's carrying himself as a SmackDown GM, as someone. As a matter of fact, he is. I feel like he is living this gimmick. He's living this persona. He is carrying this role with an iron fist. He would not let himself be a pushover. You know what I mean? He's not going to let foolishness slide. You know what I mean? Like, this is a true authority figure, and of course, obviously, not only that, he just retired. So he's still fresh out of the ring. You know what I mean? So obviously, he's still very much in great shape. So if something were to go down, he has no problem stepping in your face, right? So I think that's the difference between him and, with all due respect, Adam Pearce, because we've seen plenty of times where Adam Pearce has let a lot of stuff slide. He's let a lot of foolishness slide. But Nick Aldis has decided, like, you know what? I'm gonna put my foot down. I'm gonna do the 180, and like I say, it's zero tolerance, right? So, but yeah, like, I just want to acknowledge Nick Aldis for for what he is doing so far as a SmackDown GM, and just taking authority when he as he needs to. So anyway, of course, like, all that aside, all this insists that the fatal four-way between AJ Styles, LA Knight, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble is a done deal. And so all this further asserts his authority over over the Blue brand by booking a 302 handicap match for the main event. Of course, 302 is going to be AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Orton versus Solo and Jimmy. And of course, so of course, as far as that, this is a simple, sort of unpredictable start of the show. Of course, the thing about it was that initially, I guess, as you may have expected, Cameron Grimes, to do something, but of course they clearly, clearly clearly called audibles, like, no, we're gonna do something even even bigger and better than this, and that they did. So of course after that we have Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wild versus Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, and of course the winners of this match are Carrillo and Garza. And of course after that we have Bianca Belair versus Bayley, and this was truly a great match. I would say that this was, in my estimation, the best match of the night between Bianca Belair and Bayley. And your winner, of course, the EST Bianca Belair. You could tell that Bianca historically has had Bayley's number. You know what I mean? So um, historically, like I said, as far as that, historically, um, has had Bianca has had Bayley's number ever since Thunderdome, right? And so, you know what I mean. So, of course, like I said, this. But the thing is, whenever Bianca and Bayley are in the ring, they have great chemistry. They never fail to deliver, and this match was no different. And you know, Bianca is always the MVP when it comes to the ring gear. You know what I mean? And all I gotta say is that that Montez, um, will always be a champion whether he has a belt or not. That's all I have to say. You know what I mean? Like I said, Bianca is truly a queen. She is truly the MVP. That's all. So as far as that. So for the second consecutive week on SmackDown, we we have for the second straight week on SmackDown, we have like we have a high quality women's division matches. It's Bianca battles Bayley to, as I've said before, to rekindle their previous rivalry. And so of course, as far as like I said, the match is great. Plenty of ring psychology from Bayley as a heel, and a lot of great resilience from Bianca. But of course, the main story of this is the deteriorating relationship between the role model, the leader of Damage Control, and her teammates. Like I said, that's the main focal point of this match. The story remains the deteriorating relationship between Bayley and Damage Control, and it's looking a lot like Scar, looking a lot like Scar and the Hyenas, right? Um, it's looking a lot like eventually it's only a matter of time before they turn on Bayley, and her losing this match obviously did her zero favors. If anything, it only made things worse, and the big indicator was that later in the match, Bayley was pleading with Dakota, Asuka, and Kyrie, as so Dakota, Asuka, Kyrie saying, as well as Io for help, but obviously she got no help from neither one of them, and so she had no other choice. Bayley had no other choice but to do things by herself, and of course that result ends up with her losing to Bianca, and so like I said, the thing is, as we get close to the Royal Rumble, it's very clear, it's very obvious that the faction is going to eventually excommunicate, um, you know, their leader pretty soon, much like how Judgment Day kicked Edge out the group. Bayley is definitely going through that right now, um, you know, and so it's like I said, you could tell that the battle lines are drawn. You can tell that that's very obvious that that the handwriting is on the wall, and so so as far as that, and also um, like I said, also like another fun thing in this match is how Bianca used her braid as a tripwire to trip up Bayley and send her face first to the turnbuckle, and so also aside from the match, we also have a segment where Logan Paul cut a pre-tape match promo for the legal action against Kevin Owens for the knockout that KO dealt Logan last week. And so KO responds in a pre-tape promo of his own as he invited Logan Paul to join him on the Kevin Owens show next week on Smackdown. You know, so it's like, Logan Paul is supposed to be a knockout artist, but Logan Paul can dish it, but he can't take it. Like he got KO by KO. It's pretty funny, right? And so here we have Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. I think their new name is called the Pride, as far as what I've been hearing. So Lashley and the Street Profits obviously still furious after they got beat down at the hands of Karrion Kross and and Authors of Pain last week. And so of course Lashley and Street Profits, the Pride, of course, challenged AOP to meet them in the ring. So instead, Paul Ellering, the legendary Paul Ellering, the manager of one of, if not arguably the GOAT tag team of all time, the Legion of Doom, arguably one of the greatest tag teams of all time, LOD, Paul Ellering, of course, the legendary manager for them, emerged and pointed to the video screen, pointed to the Titantron, where there was a warning from Karrion Kross. And so in this video, Kross officially labeled the group Final Testament. So now Street Profits have gone from heels to faces. So I'm looking to see what what other elements they're going to add to this, and this is this is making Karrion Kross a more interesting figure, more interesting character than he's ever been before. Because I feel like, not just me, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel the same way that I do, in a sense that ever since the Adam Cole promo on NXT, Karrion has never been the same. And to make matters worse, before his initial release, when Karrion was called up to the main roster, they had him wearing this weird red leather thing, mask thing, crazy, whatever, like some Mad Max character, something like that. It was ridiculous. It was horrible, and it was definitely trolling. But now I think they're finding ways, if not found a way, to repackage him and rejuvenate him. Give him more of give him more layers, give him just more meaning, if you will. And so I think that a stable like this, at least would add more depth to him, especially pairing him with Ellering. I think that would hopefully it'll rub off on him. In terms of his allegiance with Paul Ellering, right? And so, to me, I'm a little interested. I'm a little intrigued to see what they're going to do with what they're going to do with Karrion, as well as Lashley and the Street Profits moving forward with this. So, and side note, for those that are watching by way of YouTube, once again, you can, of course, youtube.com/@VonResper Jr. Please make sure to like and subscribe. For more content, for more videos, for more podcast episodes coming up. And this, that, just everything else in this one. But yeah, what I mean. So as far as that, and then of course after that, we see Carmelo Hayes, Carmelo Hayes versus Austin Theory, and so in this match, things were looking great. And we could definitely see two uh, pieces of the future of WWE: Carmelo Hayes and Austin Theory. And so, unfortunately, the match had to come to an end. It was a no contest because, because unfortunately, it was a head or neck injury suffered by Theory. And so the injury came after after Theory did a move off the top rope, where he clearly landed on his head or the side of his neck and was just completely knocked out, just straight up KO. So like I said, so unfortunately they could not continue the match. It was called off, and so you know what I mean. Like I said, I appreciate the way that Corey Graves and Kevin Patrick, emphasize the importance and the risk and danger of what they of just the nature of wrestling. Just unfortunately, things like this happen, and no one can pinpoint and telegraph exactly when and where it's going to happen. Obviously, with what happened with Charlotte, she's going to be on the sideline until really realistically, actually more like the end of the year. So, that just that just put a huge wrench, a major dent in WrestleMania plans for the women's division. So when it comes to that, and then you see a freak injury like this with Theory, what I mean. So of course, I'm praying for his recovery. You know what I mean? And so I just wish nothing but the best. I mean, like I said, of course, I just like I said, I'm keeping my prayers for a safe and speedy recovery. So, that's what it is. And so, so of course, unfortunately for Melo, he wasn't obviously, they weren't able to complete the match. You know what I mean? So, like I said, unfortunately, things like that happen. But of course, moving on, we see the main event with Randy Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles taking on the bloodline of Solo Sikoa and Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. And so the winners of this match were Randy Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles. And at the end, we see LA Knight, Orton, and Styles give Solo a triple powerbomb, like reminiscent of the Shield, and so of course, this was the shot that they fired towards the bloodline, and so it's like I said, it's very intriguing to see how things pan out as we get closer and closer to the Royal Rumble, and so so as far as that, it was a very solid showing overall. And then now, of course, we're going to move on to Monday Night Raw, a very special MLK edition of Monday Night Raw. And, funny thing about it, of course, Monday Night Raw starts off with none other than the American Nightmare himself, Cody Rhodes. Of course, especially with a certain infamous Twitter nickname that he has. It's very similar to MLK. Let's just say it like that. And it's very fascinating that Cody opens up Raw on MLK Day. It's an inside joke if you know, you know. And so, obviously he addresses obviously Cody starts off wanting to address Shinsuke Nakamura. But after that, Drew McIntyre's music cuts him off. And so as Drew Drew makes his way to the ring. He gives Cody a smirk and asks him what he wants to talk about. And so so of course they try to catch up on old times, if you will, and all this other type of stuff. Talk about how they're the same age and had similar career paths, yada yada yada. Drew says he's proud of Cody and all and who he's become, and they were even at one point, I think at one point they were even like tag team champions or something. And so so as a matter of fact, this is a callback to when they were known as the Dashing Ones, when Cody, like the things back when Cody was dashing Cody Rhodes. And so of course Drew says the reason why they didn't go that far with the tag teams because they saw themselves as singles competitors. And of course how both of them had to leave WWE to get their head straight and all this other stuff like that. So basically Drew is saying that he shares similarities not only with CM Punk but also with Cody as well. So like just when you look at it in a nutshell. And so so of course as far as that, like I said, a lot of this, is just more so, more so, and like I said, more so interaction, between, like I said, I'm not going to belabor it, like I said, belabor this much longer, but but of course, outside of the pleasantries, eventually, Drew gets, just cut straight to the point. And he says, if this is, Cody truly says he is, then they want to know why did he bring why did he bring Jey Uso to Raw, knowing the type of trouble that could cause, especially, like I said, the trouble that the Usos cause as members of the bloodline, and just like more so, Jay is on his repentance tour right now. You know what I mean? So it's just like he's trying to earn everybody's trust and things like that. And so and also Drew wanted to know why Cody endorsed CM Punk, and so so of course Cody gave his reasons for everything. And so it's just like all of a sudden things just went south. But and of course he says he doesn't like the way that Cody is a kiss up, but he does like it, but of course as far as that, um, you know much like uh, last week with CM Punk, Drew McIntyre is letting Cody know, like, look, I'm not letting anybody stand in my way. Basically, I'm not letting anybody stand in my way, including you. And so Drew wanted to let Cody know that at WrestleMania, the story, the story also belongs to him. And so after that, there's a backstage segment where, a funny backstage segment, really funny backstage segment. Our Truth is backstage counting money, and so Damian Priest, comes up to him, even though he thinks he's funny. He sees that that Truth is selling Judgment Day merchandise in the parking lot, and for them that's a big no-no. But instead, Truth gives him like a huge stack of cash, and so and here's the funny part about it. Our Truth has these really funny shirt. Dominic Mysterio is called Tom and Nick Mysterio. It's like, oh man, all right, very clever play on words. You know what I mean? So of course, our Truth asking if Nick is okay. So, since he's gonna find him on Facebook, there's like I said, it's just go play on Dominic's name. Like just a great sense of humor. So I like our Truth addition to the Judgment Day. It just adds a new layer, like a more comedic approach. You know what I mean? So like something that they've certainly needed. Just to freshen things up. And so of course, after that we see, of course after that we see Dirty Don himself, along with JD the Bobblehead, make their way to face DIY in the next match. So of course after that, so of course this leads to to the Judgment Day match versus like some leads to the Judgment Day match. And of course, the winners of this match are DIY. So of course, Gargano and Ciampa, known as DIY from NXT, defeat the Judgment Day. And so of course after that we see tag team match between Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. And the winners by pinfall were Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. And of course, we also see a video package of Nia Jax squashing the Raw women's roster. She says that no one's going to beat her at the Royal Rumble, and I believe that because, side note, spoiler alert, she is my pick to win the Royal Rumble. And so so as far as that, we of course we find out that Finn Balor and Damian Priest are going to end up facing the Miz R-Truth later on in a non-title match, and of course the Intercontinental Champion Gunther returns to Raw, and he congratulates Kaiser for his aggressiveness, for the way that he attacked Kofi Kingston. You know what I mean? So like say just the way that of course shout out to of course. Of course, I of course, of course, I definitely want to give a shout out to Kaiser, because that dude is Gunther's ultimate hype man. Straight up, I love the way he comes out and announces Gunther's name. Like what I mean. That's like, as far as the dramatics of it all. I mean, Kaiser is perfect for that. I mean, it's excellent. I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. And of course, as we all know, Gunther has been champion for 500. Well, now, as of this recording, 586 days as champion. But of course, they're not pleased that the crowd is booing. And of course, this leads into Gunther congratulating Kaiser, and also the ring general declaring himself to be in the Royal Rumble. He had, so of course, so the thing is, Gunther said that we're 2 weeks away from the Rumble, which we are, and you could definitely see, he says you can feel the desperation, in the arena, and Gunther said that you can smell it. He said, and of course, he takes shots at Arkansas. He says, since they're in Arkansas, you can even smell the excrement too. So, I mean, what that means. But yeah, what I mean. So of course, after that, this is, of course, after that, this is when Gunther declared himself. Of course, announced that he would, of course, that he would win the Royal Rumble and go to WrestleMania. And as we all know, last year he entered the Royal Rumble at number 1 and made it all the way to the end. And he was one elimination away from the Royal Rumble. And this is where the Cody chant picks up. And the fact that Gunther lasted longer in the Royal Rumble match than any man in history. He went number 1, and he was one elimination away from winning it all. But Mr. American Nightmare Cody, who came in, who came in number 30, ends up snatching his thunder from him, and of course goes on to main event WrestleMania. And so of course, the ring general has declared. Of course, obviously, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion has declared that this time he's going to win. As I said, he's going to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania. And so, of course, he's talking with Kaiser. Like I said, he congratulates him and shows the video of when Kaiser viciously attacked Kofi last week on Raw. And this is what triggered Xavier Woods to come out. And so Xavier is furious because of the fact that his fellow New Day teammate, Kofi, that has been attacked, has been sidelined. And so he steps up to Kaiser and tells him there's a problem with him. And so he says, "Are you going to wait Xavier was like, do you have to get permission from your daddy, to have a match? And so Kaiser, you know, um, accepts. You know what I mean? Of course, Kaiser Kaiser accepts the challenge, and of course, this leads to a match between Kaiser and Xavier Woods, and the winner by DQ is Kaiser. And backstage, Byron Saxton interviews Xavier Woods, and finds out where his emotions are and stuff like that. But just as as Woods is about to answer, he gets attacked by Kaiser from behind, um, only for main event Jey Uso to make the save. So this is the Uso New Day official truce. You know what I mean? Of course, I definitely like that. And so of course, um, after of course after that we see Akira Tozawa versus Ivar, and Tozawa is the winner by pinfall. And then of course we see the of course we have a segment where Rhea Ripley addresses the women's division, only for one legendary horsewoman herself, Becky Lynch, to come out and address her. Just like last week, Nia Jax confronted Rhea Ripley. Or they had that face-to-face moment. You know what I mean? Of course, had the war of words, if you will, um, last week. But this time instead of Nia, it is Becky Lynch, and Becky, um, you know, uh, praises Rhea. You know what I mean? Like just gives her respect in terms of in terms of um, you know how strong of a champion she is, and Becky's talking about even though you may have the strength of a bear, have the heart of a lion, that kind of thing, yada yada yada. Pretty much like like making herself look like the underdog and saying I have to beat you. You know what I mean? And stuff like that or whatever. Whatever the case may be. And so but of course, um, uh, before, like I said, it's in terms of that. So all right. So anyway, anyway, all right. Let me backtrack. Of course, we backtrack. So as Rhea comes out, this huge chant of mommy, and so of course she's talking about she's sick and tired of people like Nia running their mouths and claiming it's their division, and Rhea claims that this is her division because it is. That's why she's a champion, and she's met to a great, to stand a great, response and reaction. And of course, this is when Becky comes out, and so Becky gives this promo that I feel didn't really land. Um, like this, this underdog, promo, as if you have to overcome the odds and all this other type of stuff, talking about, talking about, so here we stand, two very different people with two very similar journeys and yada yada yada. In the sense that no shade to Becky, but of course very similar in the sense that they both come from um, you know like I say they both come from different countries. Becky's from Ireland, Rhea's from Australia. You know what I mean? And so and in the sense, it says that both of them, had to fight off being afterthoughts at WrestleMania to become the face of the company and become the face of the industry in and of itself. And so and of course like Becky, it really gets hard in the sense there's a difference. One of them went on to win the main event of WrestleMania, the other did not. So this is reference to when Becky won at WrestleMania 35, and she defeated Charlotte and Ronda to become a double champion, Becky 2 belts. So that was the main event, even though that was the last WrestleMania before they went to 2 nights. You know what I mean? But other than that, and the thing about it is that in terms of Rhea's match with Charlotte. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this little caveat out there. The only reason why that match was not in the main event was because um, of the bloodline storyline between, um, between the Usos and KO and Sammy. You know, they were not in the main, like I said, Charlotte and Rhea were not in the main event because of, because of the strength of, because they were not in the main event, because the focus was on was on the bloodline storyline. So, everything was storyline focused, storyline focused that the tag team titles were the main event of night one. You know, but if I were to do it over again, I would have Charlotte and Rhea in the main event, right? You know what I mean? So as far as that was certainly the best match of night one, and arguably, you could say, make a case for many to be the best match of WrestleMania itself, if not the match of the year. You know what I mean? So as far as that, like I said, that's the only reason why Charlotte and Rhea did not main event. But like I said, I just want to throw that little caveat out there. You know what I mean? So of course, Becky says there's another difference. One of them has a natural ability in the ring and finesse, talking about herself. You know, and the other one has the strength of a bear, which is Rhea, of course. But also Becky, Becky wants to say, want to say, that she herself has the heart of a lion. And so it's just like um, it was a great promo, but I feel like it would have been, um, I think it would have been better received on another occasion. You know what I mean? It's just something about it that I feel like it didn't really like hit the way that it could have. But you know, Becky, she's on her. I gotta beat you, Rhea. I have to prove myself. I have to prove that that's, you know, like, and also um, Becky pretty much admitted that that Rhea might also well, Becky was saying that there's a voice in her head that keeps her awake and is saying to her that Rhea could be better than her. That Rhea just might be better than her. So so Becky's on this warpath to prove that that Rhea's not better than her. That she needs to take the title away from her. It's very similar to how Austin was saying, was telling Rock, I need to beat you at WrestleMania. I need to. It's almost like that, but but without as much weight. And Becky was saying to do that, she needed to win the Royal Rumble. And she felt like she needed to point to the WrestleMania sign and declare that it was going to be Mommy versus the Man. I don't know about that. And so I'm feeling that that Becky's just building this up only to end up losing. You know what I mean? So of course, of course later on we see there's R-Truth, versus versus the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and Damian Priest. And of course, the winners are the Judgment Day. And after that, we have a tag team match with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Tegan Nox and Natalya. And the winners are Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, as Shayna makes Natalya tap out. Finally, we have the Royal Heavyweight Championship match with Jinder Mahal, with Veer and Cena versus Seth freaking Rollins. So of course, we have the Royal Heavyweight Championship match, and your winner is Seth freaking Rollins. So that is, so of course, that's what happens. That's what happened. Like in terms of when it comes to Monday Night Raw, and so finally, we're going to go to NXT, and NXT opens up with a Dusty Classic match with Trigger Mello Gang versus Idris Inoue and Malik Blade, and the winners of this match are Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes as they defeat Idris Inoue and Malik Blade to advance in the men's Dusty Classic. And I liked how they were all wearing yellow and black in honor of Dusty. And I think it was Idris Inoue with polka dots. So I was like, all right, that's cool. I like that. I like the little a tribute or whatever. Of course, Obafemi, closed his open challenge for the North American Championship. Just Dragon Lee was trying to challenge him. He was like, "Nope, not today, not tonight. Like challenge over." You know what I mean? And after that, we have a tag team match between Lara Valkyrie and Tatum Paxley versus Lola Vice and Electra Lopez. The winners by Valkyrie and Tatum Paxley. So after that, we have Rich Holland versus Joe Coffey. And so, of course, the winner is Rich Holland by pinfall. After that, we have another Dusty Classic match with LWO. We have LWO with Zelina Vega versus Chase U and Andre Chase. The winner is LWO by pinfall. After that, we have Dijak versus Trey Berryhill. The winner, of course, being Dijak. Match wasn't too great. Number one contender battle royal in the fatal four-way. To be the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. The winner was Roxanne Perez, as she defeated Jordan James and Fallon Henley in the Final Four to become the new number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Honestly, I wanted to see Lash Legend win. I was very unfortunate to see her get eliminated like that. So I'm like, it's a Team Lash Legend over here. You know what I mean? So of course, like overall, overall it's a very solid show. I give it an A. And so of course, that is your week in wrestling. And now it's time to move on to more pressing matters. Okay, so I've wrapped all that up. Got all the get to pretty much wrap all that stuff up. Got out the way. But now it is time to address more pressing matters, more pressing issues, if you will. And that is none other than this impending record that Roman Reigns is on. Roman Reigns is on a march towards history. Roman Reigns, who declares himself as the GOAT, has merchandise with the GOAT put up one. Side note, happy birthday to the GOAT himself, Muhammad Ali, rest in peace. But like I says, as far as that, when it comes to records, initially, it didn't really seem like, I want to say it didn't seem like too big of a deal at first, but now that we are in 2024 and we're getting closer and closer, to that milestone, it's just like I'm starting to see like more and more people like lean towards Roman retaining at WrestleMania. Of course, they're saying they can end up retaining at WrestleMania 40, which I'm all for. So initially there were more people that want to see Cody finish his story, but when you look at the bigger picture, obviously not only with Roman headlining the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania with his iconic cousin, the most electrifying man in all of sports entertainment, The Rock. Like I say, the idea of them closing out WrestleMania in night 2 as a torch passing moment. And side note, Roman, of course, the report came out that Roman would not be at the Elimination Chamber. So for those who thought that him and Rock were going to have a match over there, congratulations, you played yourself. And I had a conversation about this last night on Turnbuckle Talk, right? Shout out to Black Wrestling. And so I still stand 10 toes down in terms of Rock versus Roman. And Corey wanted to say, well, suppose that does not happen. I'm not going to feed into that because it's got to happen, because of the fact that it's just like, The Rock caught so much heat, so much backlash for not being at WrestleMania last year, especially with the statement that he put out at on the episode of on the segment on College Game Day, right? So for him to come back and make this announcement and them to do nothing with it, that's going to look even worse on him. He's going to catch even more backlash than he already has right now. You know, that's going to be a massive embarrassment on him. You know what I mean? So it's just like, why would you just come up and just troll everybody? That's a silver bullet that The Rock cannot afford to take. You know what I mean? So to even entertain that part, it's just like, I could tell, Corey is like super duper Cody, so it's just like, for him to even insinuate and entertain the idea, to me, honestly, with all due respect to him, is absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? I see it to his face. I'm just being honest. But yeah, like I said, the thing is, that aside, as I've already, made my point last week, I still stand on it, in terms of Rock versus Roman. But you have to look at the bigger picture, not just the passing of the torch, but also long term. Roman has history to make. Roman has a record to break. Roman has even more to achieve, right? So even though it's not really the best look for him to be out for so much, but at the same time, because there's a bigger end game, I'm willing to, uh, deal with it, if you will, because there's, because there's a bigger victory that lies ahead, and that is for Roman to surpass Toxic Terry himself, to surpass Hulk Hogan, or as Graham calls him, Public Enemies, the Rambling Racist. You know what I mean? So it's like Roman has history to make, and to to surpass and dethrone the Rambling Racist. So that is the bigger goal in mind. I mean, if anything, that's the bigger, to me, the bigger priority. Cody could, like I said, Cody could finish his bedtime story after Roman breaks his record, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? If Cody wants to finish the story at War Games, the event that his dad created, why not? You know what I mean? But for right now, we have a bigger end game in mind, and that is to surpass the Rambling Racists. Records eventually are meant to be broken so that history can continue to move on, so that history can grow. And so I have no problem with Roman retaining just to break, like I said, just to break that record. I have no problem with that. When I talk about record, I'm talking about the more modern record. Like in terms of like the longest reigning modern champion. If you will, so like post Bruno and post Backlund, right? Talking about that. So Hogan stands at 1474, 1,474 days as champion. So anything past SummerSlam, Roman is going to surpass that. So he's, like I said, he's already on the march toward history. So why not, finish this story along with the Bloodline family story. So the family story between him and Rock is a more compelling story. The story of him making history and breaking this record is far more compelling. So, even though I'm not the biggest fan of him, having so many days out. As a matter of fact, I just Googled it right now. As it stands, Roman Reigns has been champion, has been Universal Champion for 1,234 days. And he's the longest reigning champion since 1988, which was when Hogan's first reign. 1988 was when Hogan's 1,474-day reign, his 4-year reign ended, right? Hogan had the belt for 4 years. So that was it. Just to put it in perspective, Roman has become the longest reigning world champion since 1988. 1988 was the end of Hogan's first run as champion. Hogan's first run as WWF champion lasted 4 years. From January 23rd, 1984, when he defeated the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden, and went on to revolutionize wrestling, made it mainstream, put on the map, headline, headline 3 straight WrestleManias before losing the belt. He's the focal point of wrestling, pop culture icon, all this other type of stuff. Made all kinds of history, hosted Saturday Night Live, first wrestler on the cover of Sports Illustrated, all that, right? All that happened within Hogan's first reign, which is the one that Roman is looking to surpass. Hogan made his greatest mark in that time frame. Hogan became, like I said, became the pioneer, became the game changer, franchise star, and all this other type of stuff in that first reign. He did all that within those 1,474 days. So, for all of his contributions, whatever, hey, whatever, hats off to him. But let's be clear. Just because, and I'm gonna see if I can make this clip. Just because you have a Hall of Fame resume, have a Hall of Fame career, achieve legend status, have an incredible body of work. Just because you have those things, just because of your accolades, right? Just because you have those accolades does not mean that you are entitled to have the red carpet treatment. And Hogan's, obviously Hogan is realizing that he's feeling the backlash now, because he is, and of course I know that old boy JD was going off on tirades saying, I don't care, about what Hogan said, stuff he, stuff he said, outside of wrestling, of course, saying that you out here deem him as a racist. No, Hogan deemed himself as a racist. He was on that very same tape. He said, on the very same tape, he said, I can be a little racist. So there's video evidence, audio evidence where Hogan incriminated himself, along with saying the hard ER. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, it's just the most degrading situation that someone of their stature can be in. You know what I mean? Like, he let out his inner, transman out there. You know what I mean? Like, with the tirade in the sex tape. You know what I mean? So, where he's dropping cheeks of his best friend's wife. But that's neither here nor there. But he admitted that he's a racist. And he cried, saying, on that Good Morning America, saying that, I'm a good person. Growing up, we all used to say that, black friends and the white friends. No, that's a lie. That's a complete lie. It's never okay for a white person to use that word. No, I say that. Obviously, other than the fact that Hogan said that, that when he dies, he is not one of the reincarnated as a black guy. He said stupid stuff like that. So, those receipts are the reason why many of his fans will not give him the red carpet treatment. Things like that are the reason why I feel as though, and for other reasons why I feel as though Rock and Austin have eclipsed him as the de facto goats of wrestling. You know what I mean? Like the de facto figurehead, goat, iconic status, if you will. They've eclipsed him. I could make cases. They've seen a glimpse, but that's neither here nor there. But the thing is, reasons like that are why, um, you know, we're not uh, kissing the ground that Hogan walks on. You know what I mean? Because eventually it gets to a point where, um, you have to at least have some type of conviction, regardless of wrestling. It gets to a point where it's just like, it's like you got to take a stand for something. You know what I mean? And so, like of course, RIP to him. Okay, you know what I mean. So it's as far as that. But like I said, eventually gets to a point where, like I said, wrestling stuff aside, certain things you just have to put your foot down. And for many wrestling fans, especially many black wrestling fans, or just wrestling fans in general, they had to put their foot down when it came to Hogan. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And so I say all that to say, to get back to this point. Like I said, I say all of that. Bottom line is, those are the reasons why, why we want to see Roman break that record. Because I believe in nostalgia, but at the same time, nostalgia has its place. And um, it gets to a point where it's like it's time to move on. It's time to keep up with the times. You know what I mean? It's time to to let certain traditions, certain relics go. And Hogan has a way of bringing the silliness out of people. Hogan has a way, like I said, like just bringing his name up. It's just like, just people get triggered. You know what I mean? Like you just get triggered of the idea of Roman, Roman's title reign, like breaking his record and stuff like that. It's a record. It's a record, okay? You know what I mean? Like I'm not losing sleep over LeBron breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring record. I'm not losing sleep over that, right? You know, um, if there was somebody later down the line to break Emmitt Smith's all-time rushing record, I would not lose sleep over it. And with the way the game is now, there's a receiver that breaks Jerry Rice's career receiving yard record, whatever. I'm not losing sleep over it, because the game changes. You know what I mean? And so it's just like you have to adapt or get left behind. And just like in wrestling, the game changes. Records are there. Records are meant to be broken. Um, you know, just so that history can move forward. So with that being said, like I said, I have no problem at all whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I'm cheering for Roman, to break this record. So if anything, that's just me. So as far as that, it's just like, once again, records. It's great to see them stand for a long time, but at a certain point, just as culture changes, it's time for those records to change. So, Team Roman, Team Bloodline, undisputed champion. I'm all, like I said, I'm just here to enjoy the ride. I'm here to enjoy this ride to history. I'm here to enjoy this march to history. So, Tribal Chief, I'm cheering for you. So, thank you very much for watching another episode of the Victorious Ones podcast. And, of course, thank you very much, and have a great and spectacular night.